Hello world, hello everyone. Welcome for this Halloween live. An Halloween live with a very special guest. For the one who follow me on my main account, Ljdia Musso, they have already the occasion to know a little bit about Selene Vasquez, who is going to be our guest for this new live, this Halloween live. I'm very Halloween today. Oh, hello, Selene. Here we are for this Halloween live.
Hello, hello, hello. Happy Halloween.
Welcome, welcome. I'm really happy to have you again for a live, to have a chit chat with you.
Yes.
Hello. Ciao Barbara, ciao Daniele. There are people connecting. Hello Eva Iacono. Let's start from the beginning. Let's introduce yourself. Why were you defined the mad scientist of the canvas?
Well, I think I have a reputation of being a haunted, cataclysmic artist because the main topics that have pretty much obsessed me my whole life have been mainly the realization of mortality and eventual death.
Yes.
And it's something that has haunted me forever. I am neurotically obsessed with the idea that everything is finite. I guess what happens in my artwork, as you can see, is that
You're very team.
I am imprisoned by the stereotypical image of the skull. I can't get away from the skull. All of my work has it. And I've tried to get out of it. But I find that there was nothing more all-encompassing than the image of the human skull.
Life fragility of life is a topic that we really should consider it. So what I was going to ask you is, but when did you decide that you wanted to reflect on this topic through art, through painting?
Well, another issue in my artwork is the psychological conditions of that I have gone through sometimes. I do suffer from depression, and throughout my life, I've had an occasional breakdown. And I think that the last one that I had was more of a midlife crisis, and I started late in life painting. Because I went to therapy and I found an excellent therapist who said, I think you're an artist somewhere inside of you. And that's what happened. I started unleashing all the creativity that had been pent up in me for a long, long time. And I also believe that an artist, I try to do this. I try to paint the core of my existence, the meaning of my life. And I couldn't find it for a while because for me, God feels a little removed in this world for me, and life felt meaningless, and I have a constant fear of things disappearing. So it was only natural that I would gravitate towards the idea of mortality. It's always been with me since childhood.
So it was a medium to reach out for the world, to keep grasping, to keep a grasp on the world, and to express yourself.
Yeah, and I use my trusty fork
Yes,
and my knife.
this is something
And
that we have very in common because one of the things that I really enjoyed about your art, it was the shapes, the exaggeration in forms, and I thought, oh my, this is so instinctive. This style is so instinctive, so primordial, and this is.
thank you.
I think that is linked to the fact that, like me, you don't use not only brush, but you use whatever it comes across your mind to paint.
I do. I have a very minimal allegiance to realism. I like distortion in the brushstroke, and I really, really love the use of lines and crazy lines going all over the place and forceful colors, but all of it to really probe the interior. I'm a very psychological, emotional person, and it's important for me that the paintings reflect my inside.
Which is
Now, I
very,
see,
which I think that is very, very linked to the topic that we are going to talk about, expressionism and Emil Nold, because expressionism was really characterized by this research on colors, exaggerating color, like Lefebvre, the French movement. Dijkbroek was searching for a new way to express through the forming forms, exaggerating colors, and they used art like a channel to express emotion. And
yes, but the foes were never so, I want to say, ominous
yeah.
or psychologically depraved as the way the Germans did it. So they can't shine a candle to the Germans.
But I must say one thing that I really love expressionism style. Me myself, I tend to oscillate between realism and expressive technique. I prefer expressive. I'm not quite a fan of hyperrealism, for example. I don't like painters who are into hyperrealism. Even in photography, I don't like to depict the world like it is. Like I said in one of my posts, instead of being a reader of the world, I prefer to be a writer. I prefer to write my own reality through my emotion.
Well, yes, and I think that I'm such an interior person. The exterior world is almost a burden for me to try to maneuver in it. And I definitely live in the realm of psychological feelings. And that's why I love Emil Nolde. I don't necessarily, I love Kirchner more than Emil Nolde, but they were all together. They were all part of the movement, which is a movement of called the Bridge in English. They were trying to go to a pre-academic time of woodcuts, like in the Northern Renaissance, and primitivism, and what they considered primitive art. And then they wanted it, they call themselves the Bridge because they were going to cross the bridge with all that into modern futuristic art. And they were really the founders of Expressionism. But Kirchner, I mean, well, Emil Nolde is amazing with his colors. He is eternally like a primal force running through his work, and the colors are frighteningly bright and clashing with each other like in war. So that's why I like Emil Nolde. He does a lot of religious stuff.
Yes,
I'm not good for religion, but there's a primal force running through his work. It's electric, and all of those people in the Dijkbroek, movement.
I must say that I didn't know Emil Nold And when I went through his work, I was really amazed by the way he used colors and even the religious topic. And I saw even his latest work, the watercolors, the
Yes.
flowers. It's very controversial figures in art. And it's very
Well,
interesting that is one of your main source of inspiration because of his identity. And this is one of the topics that we are going to discuss about the relationship between art and identity and art and society, because it's true, art reflects a lot of our emotion, our identity, but it's also true that it reflects the environment, the sociocultural environment in which we are going to produce our art. And Anil Nold grew up, his art grow up into an environmental in which at the same time was growing up the Nazi movement.
yeah. Look, I I I have aesthetic pleasure with Emile Nolde, but I have moral disgust. And you can't have both for an artist. You can have aesthetic pleasure and moral disgust. Now, Emile, I'm part Jewish. My
Yes,
father was Jewish,
yes,
and
you have an amazing background, cultural background, because you are from United States, but you have even origin from Peru, and you have grown up in an environmental where you have become quite when you take knowledge of concepts by the Christianism and the Jewish culture.
yeah, what happens is that it
Valentina.
okay, like Emile Molde is fascinating to me because I could never conceive of an artist being so incredibly deranged and racist. But he is, and you know, he joined the Nazi. I mean, he was 65 already. He was an old man when Hitler came into power, and he was already like, you know, he was considered one of the most successful artists of the Weimar Republic, and he hoped to be appointed even an official state chancellor. But here's a funny thing, Lydia: when Hitler saw his art. Hitler thought he called him that pig, Nolde, that pig. He hated his art and he considered it degenerate. And he actually put him in the 1937 Degenerate Art Show to humiliate him. And then he even told him that he was prohibited from ever painting again, and he had the Gestapo check on him. And so Nolde couldn't paint in oil because he was afraid that the Gestapo would smell it. So he ended up doing what he called non-painting painting, which are his watercolors, you know. And here's the thing, right? That he played down his complicity in the rest of his life through interviews and books. He played down the complicity. But it's very well known that he was an artist, anti-Semitic, and a Nazi. And unfortunately, Kirchner, who was not worst eventual outcome, Kirchner, who was also in the Degenerate Art Show, after that humiliation, and he was also addicted to heroin and to alcohol. He ended up in sanitariums, and after the Degenerate Art Show, maybe because of it, it was the last straw, he committed suicide.
Yes, I heard about it. I heard about this story when he heard that. I think that, but yes, it's very sad. That's why I say that art is the reflection of our personality, but also of the context in which we are having to operate.
But I like to think of when I look at art. There's a T.S. Eliot, the great poet, the British poet T.S. Eliot. He said that a creation or a work of art is separate from the world. It's self-sustained. And that's how I see art. That's why I can work with Emil Nolde and use the best that he has and disregard the rest. Because for me, the art and the artist, it's separate. It's like the art changes with time. It's like every time a viewer looks at the art, they already impose new meaning. Looking at an artwork, somebody who looks at my artwork now is going to see something completely different than someone who looks at it 100 years from now.
Yes, and that's a question.
My art's not going to be around for 100 years, but if it were.
And that's a question that I want to make to the public. And by the way, if you have a question for us, you can use the question mark in the below part of the screen. But by the way, do you think that you can still accept an artist? Do you think that you can still perceive in a positive way his arts, even if he has a controversial identity? In the post, I made the name of Roman Polanski, which is a great art director, film director. And I really adore his film, but I know that he has a very dark side, which reflects in his film, One for All, Rosemary Baby.
Yes, I know. Well, Ljdia, basically, I never want to be complicit in, with the artist monstrosity, but I do follow the art. Ultimately, I follow the art.
Yes.
Because, do we really want artists? If we required that artists be virtuous, or that they have incredible morality, or that, they have some kind of ethical behavior that we don't have, then nobody would be an artist.
Yeah.
We all fail. Well, I don't know if we all, but I know I fail in that respect. If somebody looks at my art and is demanding a certain level of ethics, I'm probably going to fail at it.
Did you read I put a quote from Charles Bukowski, because it said, and I laugh, and I can still laugh. We can laugh when the whole thing is so ridiculous that only the insane, the clowns, the half-wits, the cheaters, the whores, the horse players, the bank robbers, the poets are interesting. He put the poets in between all these people, and he say that they are the only one who are interesting. And I think that very beautiful art can be created if there is a sufferance, if there is something inside. Otherwise, art doesn't have a content.
No, and I think that generally the art is a thing. The artist, the human, the artist will always fail. But the artist is always a failure in the sense that we're not perfect, but the artwork can be perfect. Art can have this timeless beauty and meaning. The meaning changes, though, with the viewer. I like, there's French literary critic, he's a philosopher too, Roland Barthes. And Roland Barthes, he's always saying that every time that we encounter a work of art, we change the meaning of it. And if we don't, and we change the meaning of it, like nothing, the artist is not a god. They are not immortal.
Yeah.
The artwork is.
There is a beautiful study about how we perceive art, how we perceive image, which was done by Riccardo Falcinelli. I don't know if it's Riccardo, the name, because I always change name, but it's Falcinelli. Falcinelli figures, and is the authors of another beautiful book, Chromorama. Chromorama was about the color, the power of colors, the way they influence our perception, which was one of the themes that was explored by Expressionism, the color, how can colors help us to express emotion, feelings, and to influence the viewer to grow an affection for our art.
Yes, I think that the Bruca movement really did that. They took color and they used it single-handedly for emotional content, savagery even. Emile Nolde has these masks that are hanging from a ceiling, masks. There's no human figure in there. There's nowhere to really ground your eye in the figure, and yet it's frightening. And so I took that to do my new work, which is a new series called All the Beautiful People.
Oh,
Coming from a misanthrope like me, because I am a misanthrope, but yeah, it's called All the Beautiful People.
I have a series of photography which is called The Golden Age of Grotesque.
Ah, there you go.
I think that
but yes, I have a story just very quickly. My father adored Samuel Beckett, the writer Samuel Beckett, who wrote Waiting for Godot and all kinds of other plays and stories. And he really collected everything on Beckett. He was a collector and an avid lover of Beckett. And one time I said to him, why don't you go to Ireland or France where he's living and go see if you can meet him? It's probably very possible to meet the writer. There's nobody in the world that loves him more than you. And he said, probably if I went, I would probably be disappointed in the man. Because the artwork is vastly different than the person who does it. It takes on a life of its own.
And yes. Ljdia was telling us that there is an artist from Ecuador with an expressionism whose name is Guayasamín. I don't know him, but it's always interesting to find out about how different culture perceive expressionism and how they re-elaborate it. Because I think that express through colors is a very powerful thing. It's a thing that is universal. And I think that every culture can re-elaborate it in a different way.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Sorry if I interrupt you.
I'm using it in my work now. I'm trying to do very jarring, disconnected colors. I have some work to show if you want. I have disconnected colors that I'm using in my work.
And I have here something by Emile Nolde. I don't know if you can see it, yes. People.
Yes, I see it, of course. Yes, look at those faces.
Yes.
Those faces are remarkable, remarkable faces. I mean, extreme emotion in high-keyed colors, extreme emotion. And this is another one of my favorite, Kirchner, of course.
Kirchner, yes.
Yes, Kirchner. And it's emotionally agitated paintings too. The Bruca group didn't like paintings that stood still. They liked a lot of movements. So there's a lot of paintings about women dancing savagely and wildly and naked in fields and things like that. So kind of like stuff right up my alley. But I have some work to show, Ljdia. Should I?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. I wanted to tell you guys that I have been working on pieces based on Kirchner and Emile Nolde, and I took the best of them. And so I have a couple of pieces. They're all on my Instagram website.
Yes.
This is called A Crack in the Head. And as you can see, I'm using very jarring colors. I don't know if it's coming across well on screen, but obviously I like this one because it's called The Ape Man.
Oh, I like it. Yes.
And I called it The Ape Man because based on Boris Karloff and like a 1946 movie, a horror movie, because we love horror movies. And it's a 1946 movie about mad science.
Amazing. These works are really amazing because I love how you use the colors. They are very subversive. It's a revolution. And they are so vivid and bright. And the shapes.
Thank you. I called it All the Beautiful People because I think that there's nothing that deforms people more than the hardships of life.
Yes.
Lord have mercy. What we become after living this life is unbelievable, mysterious and strange. And, I tried to I used actually Bombay India ink, which is fantastic for the background. I usually carve into my background, but this time I chose to let the lines just permeate it with ink. I mean, let the ink permeate the lines. All right. So these are some of my works. These are some of the people that inhabitate my work. But I also did something very personal. I told you that I have a certain obsessive nature about the Grim Reaper, about skulls. And when I was a little girl, I was given a little puppet. Believe it or not, I was given this puppet as a toy. It's a Grim Reaper, as you can see. So I started making paintings about my childhood.
Yes.
And so this is called, my toy collection. So as you can see, my doll.
When I first started to look at your paintings, I was sure that you were half Mexican because they have this presence of death in their culture, and they have this representation as a woman. So I thought, yes, she must be Mexican. No, you are Peruvian. And I know a lot of people by Peru. I even worked for Peru Chamber. It's incredible.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I am Peruvian by ethnicity, and I speak fluent Spanish. And, but I have a more of a German expressionistic
Yes, I
character.
really love this. Yes, I really love this style, like I was telling you. And what is amazing is that after you, I'm going to post an interesting photographer who works on disturbing image through photography, through collage. And I wrote something about his art, to present his art. And what I found the most beautiful things about disturbing art, we can call it like this, interesting disturbing art, is that it frees the gaze of people looking at it. It made them able to take time, because we are in a world in which we are constantly surrounded by image. We don't take enough time to look at them. And I think that disturbing image, controversial image, tend to have this effect to stop, to freeze the gaze of people and to let them elaborate.
Yes, but Lydia, as long as it's genuinely coming from your center. I've seen sometimes disturbing imagery simply for the sake that it's disturbing. And that never works. It literally needs to be a genuine haunting, cataclysmic.
There must be a content. There must be a content. Otherwise, it's only a noise. Otherwise, if there is no content, there is no dialogue. I think that only if there is a content, image can reach out for people and establish a dialogue with the public.
Yes, I always tell people that I'm not in love with death, and I'm not a goth person. Every time that I paint, I'm in battle, and this is my weapon, and I'm battling death with all of my being, and I'm trying to overcome my fear of it and the heartbreak that comes with death. Because I've had it already, and I will have more in the future, and I cannot conceive how this world, this life, has that weight of us. I live in terror, neurotic terror of it. I think most people maybe don't, or they have religion as a balm, as a soothing ointment. I don't have that. And, so I always say if you're going to show extremes, make sure that you're being genuine about it, that it's coming from the core.
I think that is a very beautiful thing to put ourselves into art and to find in art a way to recreate ourselves, to let ourselves to be reborn, to be more strong.
And for others too, I think that people take great comfort in seeing those darker emotions expressed in art. And, we expect to go back to our original theory. We expect the artist to be within a moral, ethical framework, and yet we want the production of really heart-wrenching work. It doesn't work like that. The artist has to be a little on the edge, a little off kilter, maybe dark, have a dark soul, in order to produce that heart-wrenching work.
Yes, not always, but yes.
No, not always.
That's why I wrote an article, Who's Afraid of Creativity, because many people think that creativity is out of their world because they figure the artist must be some eccentric person. Yes, I think that creativity can be in every part of our life. We can always be creative.
No, your art should reflect how you feel about the world. I like deliberate crudity. I like to be very crude in my work because that's my view of the human condition. That's my view. But not everybody feels that way, so thank God. Thank God. So it was a good conversation, Ljdia.
So what are your next project, your next exhibition? Where are we going to see you in the next future?
Okay, I will be having an online exhibition with a lovely person called Ljdia in another country. And it will be an online exhibition. I will give more details about it. And it's more of I want to say, like a retrospective of my work. And because it's such a faraway country, I'm probably they're going to have prints of my work. So I will be giving you more information about that.
Okay.
I'm working on my Beautiful People series, and hold on a second. What I'm doing is doing it in different colors because I'm still playing with the idea of changing the color schemes. Because, like I said, color is everything to me. So I'm doing also pieces in very garish, very extreme colors that might startle.
So you're working on a palette of colors and trying to find out. Yes, I can see.
Yeah, so it's all the beautiful people. It's like the human condition is really something.
It's very interesting that you are trying to research on color and to find out which one is the best to suit this new series, The Beautiful People. Do you think that there is going to be more colors? Or, for example, I didn't see blue. I loved the portrait that you made for me, the blue fairies. I really loved it.
Yeah. Oh, you did? Okay, I'm not accustomed to doing real portraits of people. So my apologies for being maybe slightly deficient compared to another one.
No, I really adore it.
Yes. It's in the mail. I hope you get it soon. I hope it doesn't get lost in the mail.
No.
Dear God, that is generally invisible. Please do not let it be lost in the mail.
Please, postal service, don't lose my portrait.
Yeah. I don't know where I'm going to go. I kind of leave it up to life and how it chews me out and how it renders me. And what it's going to do to me to see how I feel and how I can then run to the art for absolute solace and comfort.
I have to see you one day in Italy, or maybe me will come to the United States and meet you.
I would love to travel again. I want to travel. I have all the requirements. I'm fully vaccinated and I'm getting my booster shot, but travel is still a little difficult. Hopefully, I'll
Yes,
get
I
out
have
there.
a friend who is stuck in Brazil. She's Italian, but she couldn't return in Italy. So I'll be waiting for a lot of time, I think.
Yeah, the world is unreal right now, and that's
Yeah.
why this is something that we can do things on Instagram. And this is a wonderful opportunity that actually you offer for artists, Ljdia, to express themselves. Creativity is everything in this world.
Yes, I
Creativity
think
and
so.
love the artwork. Forget about the artist. You know, the artist is always going to be at some level disappointing as a simple mortal.
I
But the
totally
work
agree
makes
that
that laugh.
creativity must be in our life. That's why I wrote that we must not be afraid of creativity, and to let us have a little bit of creativity in our life can really help.
Oh yes, it makes life bearable. All
Yeah.
right, Ljdia. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you so much for coming out here.
Thank
Those of you that are
you.
there,
Thank
thank
you.
you. Thank
It
you.
was really beautiful to have you for this live, for this Halloween live. I really enjoyed to have a chit chat with you again. We are going to
Yeah.
keep in touch.
Okay.
And
All right, Ljdia. Thank you
people,
so much.
people don't
Thank you, everybody.
forget to have a close look at Selene Vasquez work on our Instagram page, on our website. Let's follow her and support our artist. And
Yes, please look at my website. I find that on Instagram, people don't look enough at artist work. They go for a second to one thing.
okay,
For example, when I really love an artist, I really go to their website to see what they say or what they do, and I really read what people write. So I put a lot of importance to the things that I write. I kind of wanted to be a writer a long time ago, but I didn't have the patience for it. And I really put my heart and soul into the writing too. So please, if you have any moments, if you like my work, please indulge in reading about it and look at my website.
perfect. And I don't know if you are going to see me on a new live painting this week. This is coming because maybe I'm organizing. After you're going to see me in Catania. So see you in Catania. See you maybe in Soverato with a live painting. It was beautiful to have you, Selene. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.